Heretic is the latest horror film from A24, and like many of their genre efforts, it's a provocative one. So in this one, two Mormons, played by Chloe East and Sophie Thatcher, on a mission knock on the wrong door and find themselves fighting for their lives, faith, and sanity. Now, questions of theology and faith are always timely, and much of this diabolical and impressively harsh horror film deals with whether or not, in the face of great conflict, you can maintain your faith or be swayed by both the desire to save your own life and the evidence you're being presented with. In this, Sister Paxton, played by Chloe East, and Sister Barnes, played by Sophie Thatcher, are two young Mormons fulfilling their duties as missionaries by essentially going door to door to try to convert people to their faith. Neither was a particular stickler for Mormon theology, with the movie opening with them discussing pornography and condoms, and neither was so naive that they don't know that many of the people they're approaching will raise an eyebrow at them. Of the two, East's Paxton is younger and more impressionable, with the slightly older Barnes somewhat more street smart. Both are excellent, with Thatcher emerging as a future scream queen between this, The Boogeyman, and Yellowjackets. East, who made a big impression in Steven Spielberg's The Fabelmans, is delightful as the sunny, optimistic Paxton, having the same manner and vibe someone like Amy Adams did in a bit of her earlier work, like Junebug. However, the movie is absolutely dominated by Hugh in his first foray into horror. As the initially affable Mr. Reed, he lures the two girls out of a storm by promising them blueberry pie and tells them he has a wife so that the two, who aren't allowed to be alone with a man, will be more comfortable. His initially friendly questions about Mormonism turn into a much more existential debate about philosophy, only for his manner to quickly darken as the girls realize they are his prisoners and may not, in fact, be able to escape with their lives. It's certainly a far cry from the stammering rom-com roles that made him such a heartthrob back in the day, but in recent years, Grant has really excelled at playing darker characters. However, none have been as hardcore as this one, and at times he reminded me of a great British character actor from the 60s, 70s, and 80s who used to excel in genre roles like this, Patrick McGowan, who you probably best remember from Scanners and The Prisoner. He radiates fiendishly clever intelligence, and he's given a sadistic streak I didn't see coming, which feels bold for a pretty mainstream horror flick. Now this one comes from Scott Beck and Brian Woods, who are still most famous for writing A Quiet Place. Their scripts always have a great hook, and Heretic has one that I'm not going to spoil here. An interesting thing about this is how limited the locations are, and the movie could almost be adapted as a stage play, albeit a particularly gruesome and scary one. While their less directorial effort, 65, certainly wasn't a big success, their work here is nonetheless quite confident, with good cinematography and an excellent soundtrack, which includes memorable use of The Hollies, The Air I Breathe, and Radiohead's Creep. Yet it's the script and performances that make Heretic such a fun horror romp. Even if at close to 2 hours, it feels like it's spinning its own wheels a bit too much and maybe occasionally gets a little too clever for its own good. Heretic should be another solid horror hit for A24, with a provocative concept likely to inspire a lot of talk among the growing A24 cult. I thoroughly enjoyed catching it at TIFF, and I hope Hugh Grant keeps on taking darker roles, because they really suit him, and I give this a strong 7 out of 10.